I haven't necessarily released this on YouTube or anywhere else except in not even on my own Facebook page, let alone to people that I've just never controversial talking to and stuff like that. I released a post in my county classifieds about this on our county Facebook animal page. So as you guys know, Halloween was this Wednesday. Roxy was doing great. We had went and did like an early trick or treat thing that they just started bringing back, which was downtown in the state of Montana, Billings, downtown area. We had went and we had done their little trick or treat thing, and as they did that, I had Roxy with me. We had seen three different, a lot of different dogs, one fake, two real service dogs, and then the service dog from the library that I've been having problems with. Noticeably, on the street, that dog has no problem with Roxy, but at the library, it growls and barks at her. So I'm guessing it's just some kind of a territorial issue with that dog. And I try to go at times where I'm not going to be messed with by them. I've just given up on trying to contact the county and try to talk to them about the Billings Public Library and all that stuff. Because we don't go as often as she does. I'm not going to be the bearer of bad news telling her, well, your dog's aggressive, not supposed to be in public, but not really my job to enforce the law. The guys know she's fake, but continue to let her in. So not really something that, I'm not going to get all bent out of shape for it because I barely see her in there anymore. And my dog's well trained, and that's all that matters. As long as her dog's on a leash, it can bark and growl all at once. But the bad part about that is where Roxy was a little bit uncomfortable around that dog. Now we might have a problem because as of Halloween night, I took my little sister trick or treating. As of course, Roxy did not go in a costume. I'm just not big on dressing my dog up. That's one thing that, like last year, she was geared up and we went trick or treating. She didn't wear a costume. She had gear on this year. She wore her do not pet patch, and a lot of people were very respectful of that. And she got a couple dog treats from certain people and stuff like that, which was fun. I didn't mind that so much because she's got to have a little bit of fun. It was Halloween. So a lot of people bring their dogs out dressed in costumes and stuff like that. But at least when a service dog is dressed up and it's out in public, a lot of people still keep patches on their costumes so you know. But these are definitely not service dogs. They're people walking their pets up and down with them as they're trick or treating, which is all cute and everything, but it's extremely dangerous for my dog in the aspect of it. Because I'm used to every dog being on a leash. Apparently not that doesn't apply to everybody here. We have the one popular street that's in our neighborhood that's like huge for what it's known for, and it's called Clark, and it's known for Halloween propaganda and everybody bringing out their dogs and stuff like that. Well, I took that as a training opportunity. I knew most of the people in the neighborhood. I know who has a dog. I know most of these dogs. I had no problem with it. Roxy was like totally like, okay, I see a dog. There were a couple where she did whine a little bit, but that was just because they were kind of, what I mean? Roxy does really good around working dogs. She knows what a working dog is compared to a fake. Fakes make her very uncomfortable. They get up in her face. They make it really hard for her to focus. And she's better and she's getting better at it. But they're just with certain dogs, she is very uncomfortable and she doesn't whine for the attention of wanting to play with the dog. She whines for the point that she's been attacked before and is afraid it's going to happen again. Because the type of behavior she's seen, she's interpreting it that way. And that is totally natural for her to interpret that way. Other working dogs, she's worked around other service dogs. I have a friend that has a guide dog. Those two, right and close to public with each other. They've been friends for quite some time now. Don't have a problem. Those two were fine in public together. Teams that we saw in the streets, no problems at all. She did not give a flying shit. She did really good. It's like the only time I ever see her whine is when she has a dog that's like within a foot of her face, which is a little distracting. But on to what I was getting to. On Halloween night, we ended up meeting up with my brother, my nephew, and his friend, and my little sister. She was dressed as a rainbow dash equestrian wedding dress type thing, her own little costume makeup, and it was really cool because we got to work on it together. But as we're walking down Clark, and this is the last street that we were hitting, and we were almost home. We were in the middle of a block, and out of nowhere, this little dog, the size of my cat, a little bit bigger, and I have big cats. I have Maine Coons, so about not an extra small dog, but a small dog. black-haired Chihuahua and goes by the name of Coco. And the only reason why I know this is because the lady was yelling at her dog, and of course the fancy flexi leashes that are the little dogs are all well known for not being trained to use correctly was on. And Roxy, I had done enough distraction work with her that night. She didn't really give a shit if the dog was barking at her. And I forgive me for my language, but I'm a little upset about this, and I still am. I still shake when I talk about it. I've reported it into the county. Us here in Montana, we have no laws for dogs that to protect her because it was still a public setting. It was on a public street. And we were walking along, and last thing I heard was the dog behind us barking, and then all I seen was I turned my head to the side to see what was going on because the dog was still barking. I figured we were out of sight enough, but the dog was only like a couple feet behind us, and Roxy was eyes on me the whole time, which is what she's supposed to be trained for. It's what she does. She's to focus on one person, and that is me, solemnly on me. And I turned my head around, and all I hear is Coco, no! And somehow drop the flexi leash, and here comes this little yapping rat coming at Roxy from behind, and she bit Roxy, but she didn't break the skin. But it went on for a good 30 seconds before the owner grabbed the dog and ran off before I could say anything or do anything. And then there's a guy behind me who keeps on proceeding to walk on towards me and doesn't want to give us enough space so that I can at least pick up my 50-pound dog. That's a lot of weight, okay? 50 pounds, that's about a medium-sized dog. That's what she is. But her weight bounces between 50 to 55, which is normal for her just because she's active a lot of the time, and then we'll have times where I can't really get her out enough. So she'll gain it a little bit, but she'll lose it. It's normal for a dog to bounce a little bit within their weight class. But Roxy's doing momentum pull, and she's connected to my waist. I have my treats and stuff on me just because I knew tonight was going to be there's a lot of people. It was just totally hell. And the next thing I know, the owner had gotten a good laugh before they ran off, and the guy behind me was laughing because he thought it was funny. And everybody just kept on laughing and was pushing me forward, and I had to army grab her like this and pick her up, and she was stunned. She was literally laying on the ground, or she was frozen with her tail between her legs, getting ready to hit the ground and lay. And I had to pick her up, and I carried her another 20 feet, and then there was like a little off to the edge where somebody had parts, like it's got big bushes and stuff like that, and off to the edge was a car and stuff like that, and there was nobody in that yard because they had been out trick-or-treating themselves. So, to my guess, because the house was dark and stuff like that, or they had gone to bed early, I don't know. It was just an empty house. And I had pulled her off to the side. I had checked everything, and in the lighting that I could see, she had not had any broken skin. She was being responsive, and she just kind of stood there for a second, and then she started coming back to it, and she was okay. She bounced right back. I don't think she has any problem with bigger dogs, but with small dogs, I think we're gonna have a problem there because this isn't necessarily the first time she's been charged or rushed by a dog. But it wasn't until I got her home the next morning that I did get to check her over, and she had a little bruise because she has reddish brown paws. She's part Doberman, so she has the Doberman markings on the face and stuff. And then she's German Shepherd, and then she's Heeler, just because that's what she looks like, and that's what I'm guessing. That's what everybody says. That's kind of what my vet said. He goes, she's not Rottweiler just because she's not built like a Rottweiler. She has the tuck of the Dobie, and then the chest of the German Shepherd, and then the size adequate down to a Heeler, which is not a very good mix to have because German Shepherds and Dobies have two different body forms, and so do Heelers. But thank God, because she's mixed with all of that, and she might even have some lab in her. I'm not really sure. She's just built really weirdly. So she has the red paws, and right on the inner side of her back leg, where her tendon was, you could see where the dog had didn't bite for if this was the way her leg was facing outwards with her tendon, the dog came around and bit her right here, which I don't understand because most dogs the first thing they go for is the tendon, but it bit right here, and it was a little purple, but other than that it was not it was a very light bruise. If I would have shaved it, I would have seen it better, but it was gone within 2 days after that. And I have not been working her other than that. I have just been I had plans to meet up with a local team here that just moved up here from Texas, but as I'm moving up here from Texas, I'm kind of weary because her dog's name is Blizzard. He's really cool. She's training, and she's getting her new prospects next month, and she's still working with Blizzard trying to see if he's a little shy, so it makes it a little bit easier if you get a shy dog, because Roxy is very, when I first got Roxy, she was very shy, was not very, she's gained a lot of confidence. She still is weary towards people she doesn't expectedly know. She's good with people and she'll let you pet her and she's really friendly and stuff like that. But like with new dogs and stuff, she's not protective at all. Roxy is by far not the aggressive dog. She'll bark at the door. She might give you a growl, but her bark is more her. How do they say it? Their bark is bigger than their bite. Roxy doesn't bite. The only thing I've actually seen Roxy ever like attack is a fly, and that's because the fly was in her face. But even then, she can't attack the fly because she doesn't have a good shot. She'll eat flies, but that's about it. It's about gross. So it's funny though. It's gross. But yeah. So I've been being very careful with where I walk her. I haven't even been able to walk her. I've just been kind of like keeping her in the yard. We still go down and see her dad down at the holiday station here, which is like a gas station. And I've fought with them about following rules and being pet not being pet friendly, but there's only so far that I'm willing to go. I don't necessarily call that place a public place for working because you're in and out, it's convenient. And plus her dad works there, so it's kind of more where I just take her and we hang out type thing. She still knows the rules, she knows what she's supposed to do, she lays down by my feet and I'm talking to her dad and stuff and she'll go behind the counter, see her dad for a little bit and then she'll get her milk bone and we're out of there within 15 minutes usually. But yeah, that's about the only. And even then, I haven't been vesting her when we do that. Like I said, I don't necessarily call that public access. I just call that the gas station because it is so small. It's a small town. There's only so many places that I require that are not pet friendly, and that's most places. But as in this holiday station, good luck. It is so hard to like get them to understand that legally they can get in a lot of trouble. I've done the whole talk with them, but it's because it is my boyfriend's workplace. I'm not gonna do that to him. It's not really necessarily a good, I'm not gonna put that on him and fight that because that's as I respect him. That's his place of work. That's they weren't trained very well on that part. He knows because Roxy is a service dog. He knows legally Roxy is allowed in there. Roxy's not a nuisance. Roxy's very well trained, and Roxy's a very good dog. Oh, Roxy. Want to say hello? Here's our little straggler. Rocky. She don't like the camera. Who's that? Can you say hello? But yeah, I'm gonna try to get this short. But yeah, the dog came behind her, bit her, and she had a purple mark. I posted something in the local classifieds, like I said. I got more than enough response. I talked to animal control. There was nothing that they could press that dog with, other than maybe being off leash, and that was because she dropped the flexi leash. And the animal control officer was amazing. We don't have very good. We have some females that I don't necessarily like. I don't feel like they do their job correctly or they do it very kindly. This officer was so nice. He talked to me like I was a human being and didn't treat me like I was some animal. I mean, they came to pick up a dead cat from our yard that we had picked up, and they treated us like it was we had taken the cat in because the cat was a stray. Nobody else wanted to claim the cat. We didn't claim the cat. We can't just leave the cat outside in the wintertime. Come on. So the cat was an indoor outdoor cat. Tried finding the owners never claimed it. So eventually it ended up becoming ours in a way, but necessarily it wasn't ours because nobody wanted to claim the cat. But the cat got hit by a car running across the street, and the cat ended up passing away. We were getting ready to take it to the emergency vet, which we didn't have the money down for. We figured she was okay. We thought it was just a broken leg, but apparently it was worse than that, and she ended up passing that morning. They came to pick up the animal because that's what their job is. My mom had told them everything that we knew about it, and the way they handled it was poor. Um, that's all I can say. But other than that, he really talked to me, and he's like, I hate those things. He goes, the only thing I've actually ever seen that's been decent with a flexi leash is like drug dogs. And he goes, necessarily, they don't actually have to be on a flexi leash. That's in theory like more than one drug dog type thing. Never had any issues with him. He said he'd look into it. I told him as much information as I could give him about the dog's name and maybe that they own another dog that looks like a hound that's black and white and that they live near us or in our neighborhood within 12-block radius. You know what I mean? Which is pretty big considering I doubt there's going to be two little black white chihuahuas named long-haired named Coco. If there is, then as far as I know, the dog probably didn't even have it. Probably didn't have tags. Probably had its shots and stuff, but it probably hadn't been updated in the system for a while because a lot of people let that go. And I refuse to let that go just because she's working and I want to follow the rules as much as possible. So that's about it, guys. That's all I can really tell you. Roxy, as of the moment, is just recuperating, and Then we will do some training. I have a feeling she's gonna bounce back just fine. She's gotten along with little dogs before. She's really never had an issue. Now she's had some bossy small dogs that are her, like my aunts and stuff. But other than that, there's nothing that I can really do but just give her some time off. The only actual I wouldn't necessarily call it public access is she just wore her vest because I didn't want to have to deal with my boyfriend's. They know her as my service dog, so when she comes over, she usually just wears her vest, and we take it off when we're there. Even then, that's the only time she's actually worn her vest since then. I wasn't gonna risk taking her into Walmart. She stayed in the car that day, and it was only for like 10 minutes because it's not hot out here. It's actually 70 degrees or less. So I left the window down a crack and left the radio on for her. She likes the radio. That's about it. She hasn't done anything. I've been trying to let her rest as much as possible. I let her go over and see her dad, and just been very careful with the dogs that I've not let her see another dog since then. I've been very particular about going out with her and making sure that when she goes to the bathroom that no dogs are walking by, and just because she needs that isolation for now until I can see that she's been very flustered. Like her training, she's kind of been off on it. Some like her simple commands that she knows very well that she like loves to do. She's just now kind of bouncing back to some of those like rollover. She knows rollover like the back of her hand. She'd rather do rollover than like sit stays. And she hated rollover when we first started doing it. It took her a while to get back to doing rollover and having to show her tummy. And Roxy loves rollover, so that's like hard to see her go through that. And like the first 2 days after that, she kind of was still. I wasn't really. I haven't been doing any training with her just because she needs to have that downtime. It's important that after an attack like that, she has some downtime, especially something that was that major and that straight on aggression. Now, if it was just a dog, like the first dog that she had charge her was just a dog who wanted to say hello and play, but it kind of got in her space, you know what I mean? She wasn't aggressive. She kind of just froze. That's all she usually will do if a dog gets in her face is she freezes. That's about it. That's what she's supposed to do. She's not supposed to fight back. She never has fought back. She barely plays tug of war. She won't growl. She plays tug of war. She doesn't even when she plays with other dogs. She doesn't growl. I mean, she is probably like the best, most non-aggressive dog that you will ever meet. Like I said, the worst she'll do is maybe she'll growl or bark at the door, and that's just because we've had people who sit there and tease her, and they mess around, and they knock on the windows, and we've had people next door neighbors that sold drugs and stuff like that. So there were always people around the house, and that was just for she was like our warning system for my own safety, and because I get overstimulated with that kind of stuff, she would bark, warn me, and I tell her, okay, that's enough, lay down, and I know that somebody was out there. Right now, it's fall, so anything that rustles in the yard, she kind of barks at, but that's about it. She doesn't even speak when you ask her to. She's very quiet, other than that. She'll whine every once in a while, but that's about as vocal as she gets. She's a very quiet, laid back dog, a very well trained dog, the way she's supposed to be. I'm sorry this video is getting longer. It's been a very emotional couple of days. I just started working at a daycare and I'm loving it. It's only 1 day a week, which is about all I can take right now. I'll be turning 18 at the end of the month. Roxy will be turning 3. I'm hoping. This is what's gonna be hard is I wanted to do a doggy birthday party, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do that. It's probably gonna be down to the dogs that she really knows, like my grandma's dog Max, who was actually my dog for the longest time until I got Roxy, and then my guide dog friend with Casey. That's probably going to be it, and we'll see about the new dog Blizzard I was telling you about. That they just moved here, and we had plans to meet up on Sunday, but I had my boyfriend and me. I needed to spend some time with him. Plus, I didn't think she was ready for even pet friendly PA, so I figured she's probably gonna bounce back just fine. It's probably not. She's probably not even gonna. It doesn't look like it's gonna phase her too much. I think it just threw her off a little bit. That's about it. But that's all I can really tell you guys. Other than that, it was just it's been a very terrible week, and I'm glad it's coming to an end. You guys have a good night, and hopefully we'll talk to you guys soon.